What's up guys, my name's Tom, welcome back to another video. Today back to my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode episode 16, and today is time for the Singapore Grand Prix. If you haven't watched the previous episode, the Italian Grand Prix, it was a crazy race here at the closing stages. Spoiler alert, I highly recommend to go check it out before you see this one. But we move on to Singapore, and unfortunately one of our major upgrades to the aero department unfortunately failed, and we have to fix that, and it should be ready, if I'm not wrong, to the next race, which is going to be the Russian Grand Prix. But we're making good progress, but hopefully next episode we're going to have two major upgrades which are going to really come in handy in Sochi, and maybe we can overtake Haas at least, getting close on the performance chart. But we're just changing our engine and putting an older one, because Singapore is not a track that really requires that much straight line speed. But for the next few episodes, I think till the rest of the season, we're going with a fresh power unit, because we have plenty of them. I've always been taking penalties when I was starting way at the back of the field where I had nothing to lose, and that's the reason that we have plenty of power unit components to use. So this is going to be the last episode, that we're going to use an old power unit component. For the rest of the season, we're going to just use fresh ones, and that is going to really help us out, especially if you want to score points, and who knows, maybe overtake Alfa Romeo in the Constructors' Championship. I think that would be an absolute win at the end of the season. But just seeing the emails, and we have an announcement for Carl that we're going to have a regulation change for the next season, and it's going to be for multiple departments. So we're not going to have a full maxed out cars, it seems, for the next season, and that was a bit unfortunate. But this email is very important, because now for the rest of the season I'm not going to spend any resource points, because I want to spend every single of them in adapting the parts to the new components. So I think these two last major upgrades that we're going to have in the next episode, probably if all things go well, are going to be the last ones of this season. We're going to struggle a little bit, especially in the closing stage of the season, but this decision can really play on our favor in the beginning of the second season, because we're going to maybe be able to adapt every single one, and maybe the other teams can't do that. We'll see. We have a long way to go until the end of the season, so we're going to focus on qualifying. Based on practice, let me say it's been quite decent, considering that's the engine that we have at the moment. But I don't see myself. We're going to struggle quite a bit if we want to get into the second phase of qualifying, but across the line that is a 1:37.5, and ahead for the time being of one of the AlphaTauris, it is of Pierre Gasly. So that is an encouraging start. The AlphaTauris definitely is much stronger than the Tom Motorsport car, but just keeping forward. And for the time being, at the moment, we are in P16, so this would mean that we would get through into Q2, but the track evolution around this track is active, so we are forced to go once again, and we are in the danger zone. So we don't have the pace at the moment, to do just one run like the likes of the Mercedes, the Ferraris and Red Bulls. But here we go. This is going to be my best lap. There was a lot of time left on the table, and despite that, we are really close to get through into Q2, so I have good expectations as we go into turn 1 very cleanly, and already gaining a little bit of time against our personal best. Now the track is going to have more rubber, so definitely we're going to have a better grip. But through this right hand we lost a bit of time, a little bit tempted. I was very close to hit the wall on the first run, so that removed a little bit of confidence. But through here, a lot of confidence, as you can see, using all the track available, and we actually received a warning. So that would be maybe a lap invalidated, I don't know, because we put all four wheels off to the track. But we're going to press on, because now we gain 0.2 of a second. That left-handed is a very hard corner, at least for me. I struggle a lot throughout this weekend, and now through the Anderson Bridge, we're getting closer to the Anderson Bridge, and getting a little bit of understeers. The thing that you have to be really careful in these push laps is because you have to be really careful with the tire temperature, especially with the surface temperature. But you're seeing in the damage indicator that unfortunately tapped the wall when we were approaching to the Anderson Bridge. So we have a yellow front wing, but I'm going still to press on, because there was a lot of time left on the table, and I think we can improve despite that front wing damage. So it was a stupid mistake by me, 0.2 up, because then we lost a lot of time, because I went very deeply into the chicane, because I'm starting to lose a lot of downforce thanks to this front wing damage. But through final chicane, and now we just have one corner which we're going to struggle a little bit because he's a left-hander, so the damage is going really kicking in. But here we go, we're not going to improve, unfortunately, and at the end of the day we're not going to improve our time, and we're not going to be in the second phase of qualifying. We're going to start in P18, so it's been a very disappointing qualifying, I'm not gonna lie. If I didn't have that damage and I was a bit more confident in this second lap, surely that I would get into Q2. But that's how things go. Teammate Nick de Vries, penultimate place, so he's not delivering the results that I would wish. But maybe this is where the car is at the moment. I don't know, and it should be even worse because now of the upgrades and the regulation change. But that is a thing that we're going to talk about in the few episodes time, because now it's time for the race, the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's go.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging Grand Prix. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners, but we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Albon, Perez, Kvyat, Stroll and Carlos Sainz, Norris, Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi and Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Thomas, Grosjean, Russell, Latifi and Nick de Vries. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
See if you can gain some early places on the first lap. This will help us to get another points finish.
Thanks, Jeffrey, and welcome guys to the Singapore Grand Prix. We're starting P18 after a rather disappointing qualifying, not gonna lie. But Jeff wants me to do the 2-stop, and that is absolutely no way that we're going to do that strategy. We're going to be the 1-stop because it's so powerful around here, trust me. In a track where we can lose so much time because of traffic. But here we go for the Singapore Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel in pole position, not the first time that he's starting in that position, but lights out. And away we go. It's been a good start. We're already ahead of the Haas of Magnussen and getting some slipstream of the Renault, and we're going to clean not just one Renault but both Renaults, and then Ricciardo gets a good run around the outside because we've been pushed onto the inside curve by the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, but we still pass around the outside of Ricciardo, but he fights back. He's going to try to go on the inside and try to take a look around the outside of the AlphaTauri, but we can't do anything, and for the time being we have to stick behind the AlphaTauri, but we are ahead of the Renault, getting a nice slipstream, and he's going to dive down inside, not just me, but off Gasly as well. We're trying to gain these two positions around the outside, but he can't get enough traction to get ahead of both of us, and now we're going to have the inside line giving a little bit of a squeeze to the AlphaTauri, and we are already into P14. So once again, it's been a very successful lap 1 in this My Team career mode. I think it's been a while since I lost or maintained the positions during lap 1, so maybe this is an issue with the F1 2020 AI, is that they are a little bit timid, especially on lap 1, so it's an issue that we always have been suffering in these last few games. But now we're getting a little bit slow out of the hairpin, and that is going to allow us to get a chance as we dive on the inside. He's on the soft tire, so it's going to be quite a challenge. No, because we gave a very aggressive squeeze, because I know that he's in a much stronger car, he's in a much better tires, but sooner or later he's going to soon rather than later he's going to start to suffer wear, because the tire wear here is absolutely massive. So, and we are already keeping Raikkonen at pace, so maybe the soft tires are starting to fade away a little bit, and soon or later we have to make these moves because we are in a different race. These guys surely they are going to stick with the 2-stop. It's very hard to switch to the soft to the hard tires, but we run wide a little bit. We made contact with Norris behind, and Norris spins round, and then once again I made contact, and it's not the first time that I made during this season one. I made several times contact with the AI, some incidents, and yeah, there is another. We made contact with Norris. Most of the contact is AI's fault, but I'm afraid that maybe it should be my fault. I ran wide here, I missed massively the apex, and I wasn't expecting Norris to come back, and it is my fault. Most of the times, the incidents with me and the AI is it's the AI's fault, you know. But here, yeah, I have to lift my hand. That I have to take the blame, and that was Norris's fault. My fault. Apologies. I should have given a little bit more room, but like I was saying, I missed massively the apex. I realized that when I was driving, but I wasn't expecting Norris to be that close enough to get alongside me, and unfortunately. I squeeze him too hard, and basically that's Norris's race over. But we're going to press on. Our car is intact, and we're going to try to catch once again Kimi Räikkönen. We dropped a little bit of time, but we're going purple on the final sector, so the pace is there. This is the stage of the race where the soft tires are going to start to fade away, and the medium runners are going to start to make some moves. And look how close we are on Kimi Räikkönen. That is going to allow us to make a dive on the inside that happened at the end of the Anzense bridge. It's very hard to make a move here, but we somehow find the confidence, the traction, the brakes, everything to make the move on the Alfa Romeo. And I have to be really careful with my engine because you could see that the temperatures are quite high, and that is going to be really hard to make some moves, especially if you want to make them in the straight when we have DRS. But now the guys on the soft are pulling in as we enter a little bit on ultra speed mode, because it was just a few moments later after the Raikkonen move. And at the moment we are in P6 as Lance Stroll is on the soft tires, and just showing a little bit a few moments before these guys on the midfield were doing his stops, is because Charles Leclerc is fitting another set of soft tires. The normal strategy around here is like Bottas is doing, is changing from the softs to the mediums, and then dress a brand new set of mediums once again, and then basically that is your strategy if you want to stick with the 2-stop. It's a story for these guys that started on the soft tires. I'm actually kind of surprised, by the way, that some guys outside of the top 10 that didn't qualify to the top 10 shootouts started on the soft tires. And one truly example here is Nick de Vries, our teammate. He could be doing the 1-stop like me, which it would be the best idea, but no, once he took a stupid idea, and yeah, I wish I could you know, manage my teammate's strategy, because he could have a really good chance to score points if he stick with the 1-stop, but surely that is not going to do with the 1-stop, I reckon. But now, I was talking about Leclerc, yes. If he did not set off soft tires, so I won't say that he's in a very ambitious free stop, which is a terrible idea, especially in a track that's overtaking can be really challenging, can lose buckets of time by being stuck on traffic. But that was a very interesting strategy call, or maybe Ferrari think that they can carry and can do a 2-stop by having 2 sets of softs during this race. But we're pressurizing Antonio Giovinazzi by diving down inside, easy as you like, very aggressive move, lock up a little bit on the front left, but finally we made this move. I was starting to, you know, getting a little bit impatient, damaging my tires thanks to the dirty air, so I thought, okay, I have to make this move. I was actually kind of struggling on the straight line because I'm running with a high downforce setup, so I wasn't quite catching enough to make not a very ambitious dive bomb like I did, and just clean pass during the straight. But now lap 10 we're going to make our only stop of the night. We're going to dress a brand new set of hard tires. We're going to draw some positions, but we have to be now, this is a very important stage of the race, because we have to be really consistent, and you could see the tires were like 40-odd%, which is quite impressive. I was expecting to be like 50 or 60-odd% of tire wear, but like I was saying, now this is a very, very important stage of the race, because we have to nurse these tires, we have to be fast, because we know that the guys ahead of us, the lights of Raikkonen, have to make another stop. So more closer we get to him, better are the chances to cross the line ahead of him, because he's going to be mega fast in the closing stages with a fresh set of mediums, and we're going to have a mid-worn set of hard tires. So this is the disadvantage of the one-stop, but I reckon, and from my experience in F1 games, that the one-stop is definitely the best way to go. And you can see that we're setting personal bests on our second lap in this set of hard tires, and we are already in P11, and it's going to be much higher because Stroll and Raikkonen at the moment are jostling for position as Raikkonen makes the move on the racing point, and now Stroll gets ahead once again. So this is what I really need, these guys to start to squabble a little bit between each other, and that is going to allow us to get a little bit closer, but I don't want to get a bit too much close and get stuck behind him, because that can damage my tires, and that is the thing. We have to nurse these tires till the end. This is a track where the tire wear is very high around this track, so I have to be really careful in this set of boots. But now lap 16, we have a very important team ready, which I wasn't expecting at all.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes. Dries seem like the best tyre for now.
You can skip backwards in this video when I was seeing the strategy tablet, you know, when I'm on the grid. And you're going to see that was no rain clouds, no like the rain sign on the on the tablet, on the weather forecast, you know. So we're going to have some rain in soon or later. We're going to have some rain. At the moment we are on the points, but if the rain comes quickly, maybe these guys are going to save one stop, and they're going to change those mediums straight to the intermediates if it needs to, but not for these guys, especially the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, that is going to be clearly outside of the points by sticking to the 2-stop, because these guys are going to fit another set of mediums, and Max Verstappen is fitting a set of soft tires. What is happening with the strategies today? I'm really I don't know what is the strategy for Max for the rest of this race, if he's going to stop once again, but this is what I was talking about. This is why the one stop is so important around this track, because now look at both Red Bulls and the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas that pitted just a few moments ago. Now they are stuck behind the one stopper, and that one stopper is a much slower Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and we are in P11. We don't have to stop anymore, and we're going to gain a few more positions. The other Red Bull of Alexander Albon is pitting, so definitely these two stoppers don't want to risk and stretch those mediums to the intermediate tires. They overtook Hamilton in the medium, so a top motorsport car is ahead of a Mercedes, the best car on the grid at this race, and we find ourselves at the moment in P3 on the podium. We can get our best result for Tom Motorsport. Remember that the best result was P4 at the Canadian Grand Prix, but now we receive a little bit of contact, as you can see, of Hamilton. I think I saw a little bit of a front wing flying up, and I think it was Hamilton that hit our gearbox. And I think Hamilton wasn't expecting to be, me that slow, because that Mercedes definitely is so much stronger, has so much space in those mediums. And yes, Hamilton lost a bit of his front wing, and he's going to be forced to stop, because there was no way. He lost one of his end plates, and once you lose an end plate, you're forced to stop, because that is considered a major damage on your front wing. And there is confirmation he's pitting, so that's definitely not my fault. I think Hamilton was a bit stupid, I'm not gonna lie. He could just wait for the start-finish rate, and I wouldn't let him go. To be honest, I wasn't going to battle Hamilton, because he was in the Mercedes. You have plenty of laps to go, and the podium can be for another day. And I didn't want to, be damaging my tires, but Albon now pits, and we are promoted to another position, and we are in second place of this race. Are you kidding me? And Giovinazzi is in P3, and now Gasly is in P4 because of these guys stopping. And Leclerc with a 2-stop is actually kind of working, considering the parameters of the 2 stoppers to the other drivers. Leclerc is doing quite decently. And the smartest guy here is not, maybe it's me, because I'm in a very high position, but it is Sebastian Vettel that is 30 seconds up the road, because he's at one stop. And now on lap 23, it's raining, it's starting to rain, so this is crunch time. Everything is happening at the same time, and this is going to be really tricky for me. It's the first time in these rainy conditions for me during this weekend. It was on practice too, was raining, but I skipped that practice session because I wasn't expecting to be raining. And this is Bottas that finally gets away of traffic, and he makes the move on the Renault of Esteban Ocon, and the Red Bulls still have to manage the Renault. But I was saying, this is now a very tricky phase of the race, because The conditions are really bad right now. I'm starting to quite struggle a little bit. Giovinazzi is starting to catch massively because this is a thing. Is a thing that we already used to. The F1 AI always gets so strong in these kind of conditions. The very damp track when you're on the dry tires, which is something very hard for the player. And there is a confirmation. We bottled it. We locked up, double lock up, and we almost only just managed to not hit the wall, but we lose the position to Antonio Giovinazzi on the Alfa Romeo. And that was a stupid mistake for me, but what can I say? I'm trying to push, try to pull away of an AI car that is absolutely flawless in these conditions. It's a thing, I know that AI makes mistake in this game, but they are too good at the moment in these conditions. In, you know, these conditions where the track is damp, is not still ready for the intermediate tires, but lap 28 I'm starting to struggle a lot, and I'm struggling to put my power down, and you can see even in 5th gear I'm still losing the back end like crazy, because now it's absolutely impossible these conditions. And Jeff on lap 29 said, okay, you do want to change to an intermediate, and that is a big yes with a capital Y, because at the moment it's absolutely impossible. Maybe these guys are going to stop for sure, because it's the AI. I think they are not going to risk to stick in the medium tires, because the rain is going to start to get heavier and heavier. And remember the position that we are in P3. I don't want to risk and throw everything away. Maybe we could win this with this strategy. We would get ahead of Giovinazzi. Vettel, there is absolutely no way, and at the moment Vettel stays out. And to be honest, I think Vettel can stay out pretty comfortably, and he's going to have like more than 1 minute of lead, and he will still win this Grand Prix. But the conditions are absolutely impossible at the moment. Definitely the intermediates are the best tires. Maybe I should have stopped a lap before, because I was starting to struggle a lot. You have no idea. There was absolutely zero grip at the moment, and you can see, look at the train at the pit lane, and one of the Red Bulls, I think is Alexander Albon, is being massively held up by the other guys, because they are going through the pit lane, and Red Bull cannot release him, and we still remain in P3, which is really good. But I think Bottas got a bit close, so these 2 laps are going to be really decisive. And finally Alexander Albon gets released, but he fell down behind everyone, so it was very unlucky for Red Bull. They couldn't release his driver, because there was absolutely mayhem at the pit lane. But now it's time to push, and we are on the last lap, and Bottas is within 1 second. DRS has been disabled. Obviously we are in very wet conditions, and Gasly is starting to close. Look at the gap that now Giovinazzi has. He is 13 seconds ahead of us. So just see how much I'm struggling, because this is my first time in raining conditions at this track, in this game, during this weekend, and I'm struggling a lot. And Bottas with a much stronger Mercedes. Vettel stays out, and he's going to cross the line with the dry tires, but he's going to win very comfortably this race. Apologies, but now we are under massive pressure of the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. I'm driving like a grandma. I'm struggling so much. I'm not confident at all, especially after that mistake that we did in the 3rd sector, and the Vettel already crossed the line. So we're going to see the fireworks sooner or later. But Bottas is getting really close, and I'm parking a little bit in the middle of track to make sure that it doesn't go on the inside or on the outside, because I really want this podium. This can be the first podium for Tom Motorsport. It would be an absolute dream, especially in the first season with a car that is really weak. But Bottas make a massive dive on the inside through the chicane. What a move from the Mercedes, and I'm trying to do everything to put the traction as soon as I can, but look how much traction that Mercedes has. There's absolutely nothing that I can do. I have to make a massive dive to defend the position, but I made a massive lockup, and we made contact. Bottas is in the wall. We made contact, second contact in this race. We have a red front wing on the left side, on the left hand side, and the Red Bull of Alexander Albon makes the move, and that wasn't Alexander Albon, so apology, it was Max Verstappen that was held up behind the traffic. But look at how much rain is pouring at the moment in these last few corners, and unfortunately it's not going to be a pole. It's going to be a podium. The podium has been handed to Pierre Gasly, so it's been an absolutely miracle. It's going to be Vettel followed by Giovinazzi, and then the AlphaTauri of Gasly in a race where we made contact twice, and I have to, and those contacts were definitely my fault. So it's been a very chaotic race, and to be honest, I don't know how to feel.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It's never easy to make it across the finish line here in Singapore, but they've done so with some style here today to take a remarkable victory. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
To be honest, I don't know how to feel at the moment because it's a very good result, P5 and 10 points in the bag, but it could have been a podium, you know. Look at my frustration, but that mistake maybe under the bridge was one of the nails on the coffin, a very important nail, you know, and that cost us, you know, the podium finish. And then Bottas in a much confident Mercedes. I was struggling a lot. You know that the AI is very strong in rainy conditions, and yeah, it's definitely my fault. I was desperate to get this podium, but yeah, and that is really bad. And yeah, apologies for that. I have to lift my hand. That contact with Norris and then with Bottas, and that mistake in the bridge when it was very damp conditions were my fault. But you seeing that Bottas is not moving because he's letting everyone through, and now the Haas goes through, but then he stops again because he's going to let through the other Haas. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's a very strange feeling, you know. You know that you could end up getting your best result, but you get a good result nonetheless. But you made stupid mistakes, and you know that it could have been better. But no, I don't know if I should feel happy. But it's a very good result considering that the car that we have. And yeah, Charles Leclerc was actually in last place of the ones that crossed the line. So I don't know what happened to him. But championship standings, it is P8. But if we had like 10 points to that, we would be ahead of Lando Norris and that we would be best of the rest. So it's very frustrating for me, but it's our first season. We are almost best of the rest, and I think we're doing a cracking job at the moment. So guys, that has been episode 16 of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to smash like and subscribe to see plenty more Formula 1 content. It really motivates me to make more. We're making nice progress, but we'll see what we can do in these last few episodes. I think we have like 6 races to go, if I'm not wrong. So there's a lot of water that can go under the bridge. So everything can happen, and despite now sees the development because of this regulation change, I think we can do some pretty decent races. We'll see, but for now it's time to say goodbye, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video next time. But for now, it's goodbye.